Welcome to this unit, Chasing Rainbows, Fundraising for Social Entrepreneurs. My name is Hedda Pahlson-Moller. Social purpose organizations come in all different shapes, sizes, configurations, legal structures, missions, scope, business models, and so on. So it should come as no surprise that the financing options are just as diverse and broad in their spectrum. From their motivations, requirements, engagement model, financial or even non-financial tools, each social investor, grant giver, or philanthropist that is supporting social impact has their own particularity. So like gazing at a colorful rainbow with distinct colors and lovely mixtures, we will explore the facets of funding social mission. And like in a rainbow, there might be a pot of gold on the other side for the lucky ones, which we all know means hardworking. So let's start with the basics. In the most simple model, we would have a framework something like this. Impact only, those are classically our philanthropists providing grants and organizations driving social change. Then there's finance only, which is our stock market broker or traditional private equity investment manager. But what about the middle? There are organizations with investment strategies that specify impact first versus finance first, yet they both support social purpose. In impact first, you have players that might consider themselves as venture philanthropy and social investing. I'll discuss that a little bit later. In finance first, you will find many of the successful impact investors that are reporting impressive results. I recommend that you take a look at the JP Morgan and GIIN, G-I-I-N report on the data of the performance of impact investors. But let's dig a little bit deeper than this simple model. Our friends at EVPA, the European Venture Philanthropy Association, have developed this chart capturing the spectrum of social purpose organizations matching to the various financing options. As you can see on the slide, the social purpose organizations go from profitable organizations that may distribute dividends to not-for-profit structures. Now, you may have an IT solution that's just as attractive and growth-driven as any other app, but it's targeted at a marginalized group and with a social mission. This falls within the investment targets where impact first and even finance first might overlap. But then there are charitable ventures with trade revenues, selling goods or services as part of their business model, that attract different forms of capital depending on the degree of profit they aim to make. For many social ventures, the goal is sustainability and not more. But as you can see, it's a bit more complex than just impact first or finance first. In this more complex model, that is financing social impact, you stick your traditional investors, your social investors, your impact investors, your socially responsible investors, your venture philanthropists and your philanthropists, and probably your grandmother, who will be your first charitable investor. Let's take another step back and look at the overall ecosystem. What you see here is effectively a mirror of traditional capital markets. The sector has evolved and matched the core elements of the traditional finance markets, and although not yet at the same level of maturity, the framework is in place. You see here commercial banks matched by value banks or charitable banks, investment advisory, and other services developing alongside the needs of social purpose organizations. Pretty much every other core financial structure developing an equivalent is found in the social impact space. Now we're at a point of consolidation and expansion, when it's possible to be creative and present innovative solutions that you might not even find on the other side. So from copy-paste, let's look at some of the more unique features of social finance. There's continuous innovation and collaborative models evolving in this sector. Let's start with an example of crowdfunding. In Europe alone, we've seen the crowdfunding market reach about €1 billion through perks, debt, or even equity models. Now, this successful business model has turned its attention to social ventures as well. From Kiva.org and Baby Loan to Bolsa Social, I'm certain we're going to see a lot of exciting developments in this sector that will lead to even secondary markets. Another example is venture philanthropy. Let me elaborate on what this is. In short, it's a spirit of investing matching the soul of philanthropy. What does that mean? Well, you're matching capital with social purpose, with an investor mindset, and that becomes venture philanthropy. It includes philanthropists and grant givers changing their approach and taking an investor's mindset. due diligence, reporting, even exit strategy, to make sure that the grants given go as far as possible, perhaps even recycle to allow for another round of grants. How can you get that euro to go as far as possible? But it also includes social investors, i.e. investors looking for a financial return, who probably prioritize their social impact and look for a stable financial return. But they are united in venture philanthropy based on the core factors of providing both financial and non-financial support, such as capacity building, long-term engagements, what we call patient capital, and fundamentally, it is a customized approach that meets the needs of the social purpose organization. Another example of innovation is hybrid financing, as social purpose organizations can be both for-profit and not-for-profit within the same entity. So can a social investor provide both ends of the spectrum. But it can also take the shape of a collaborative engagement between a foundation and an investor, for example, or a public-private partnership, where alongside of government, we work to achieve the goals of the social purpose organization. Working alongside of government subsidies is something very critical to the future of social impact. Let's look at it from yet another angle. Let's look at the when. Most of you that are perhaps developing your own projects are still at seed stage. And at seed stage, you are relying on the 4 Fs. The 4 Fs are classically the founders, that's you, your family, I mentioned your grandmother, your friends, and the occasional fool. Once you get out of that group, you start looking towards a gung-ho business angel or venture capital, and you may even test the crowdfunding platform. But what's interesting in this trajectory, which is similar to an entrepreneur focusing in the traditional space, is that there is here in orange something that says corporate venture capital. That's a new player. Mainstream players are moving into the social financing sector. What brings them to our space? What are the corporates doing here? Well, corporate social responsibility. Securing value chains, whether it's from their supply chain to the client acquisition and developing new markets, or it might be for talent retention and talent attraction, getting high potential folks like you on their teams, and of course branding. But the point is that corporates, alongside with large finance players as well, who've traditionally focused on profits only, now are investing in social impact. They have foundations, they have corporate social responsibility programs, and even investment programs in innovative social enterprises that align to their own markets and missions. So where to start your fundraising efforts? Some keywords I've already given you: impact investment, venture philanthropy, socially responsible investing. Start with a simple Google search. You can find local partners, incubators, accelerators, communities, associations, co-working spaces. I've mentioned EVPA and GIN, and there's even Tonic, also with 2 I's. They're great places to start. There's wonderful events all over Europe and the world that are focusing on social enterprise. And where there's a critical mass in social entrepreneurs, there will also be investors. An example is the worldwide social innovation organization Ashoka. They've developed an investment arm called FASA, and most incubators have a close connection with business angel networks and other early-stage investors. There are more and more conferences and events dedicated to social entrepreneurship and social investing. It shouldn't be so hard to find. And remember, the social impact space is very much part of the sharing economy. It is a very open and generous community, so reach out, ask for help, and be prepared to give back in return. Now you have a meeting with an investor, or at least you know your ideal investor profile, and you need to work out your approach. You need to tune in to the investor or the venture philanthropist's expectation on risk versus return, as well as social versus financial return. Expect any combination and work with organizations to identify the balance between financial and social return. You got to find the sweet spot that works for both sides, because you're in this together. It's a partnership. It needs to be viable, sustainable, and impactful, and meet the needs both of the investor, the grant giver, and the social purpose organization. To conclude, financing is a means to an end, not the goal itself. Everybody knows how much hard work it takes to succeed, and financing is just one small part. But I hope this outline of the various options has been a useful start. Remember, an investor looks for a person or a team passionate and dedicated, determined to meet their objectives. It's really about you and your vision more than anything else. On behalf of the Tiime team, I want to wish you a successful journey, following rainbows and being the change makers that we are looking for and rooting for. We believe entrepreneurs are an important part of building a better future for us all. Do not give up. Keep going. The financing ecosystem will continue to evolve alongside the incredible developments in the social purpose sector. Together, we'll make the difference. Thank you for joining this session.